public sector comparator, which is a vital tool for value for money analysis in PPP, serving as a benchmark for assessing whether a PPP offers better value compared to traditional procurement. It involves thorough evaluation of the cost effectiveness of risk allocation between the two sectors, which promotes transparent decision making. The projects that the group has assumed and simulated into are the Kampala-Jinja Express Highway, which is a 30-year develop, build, finance, operate, and maintenance, and development of a bus rapid transit in Kampala. The public sector delivery base case looks at costs such as capital costs like construction, land acquisition, and then operating costs, maintenance and administration, risk valuation like construction and operational risks. I invite my colleague Brian to take us through the next slide.
Thank you, Sarah, for the presentation. The PPP model scenario, we looked at the 4 considerations, which is the PPP contract, the risk transfer, government payment and revenue foregone, and then the 4th being the NPV calculations to determine the viability of the project. Then for value for money assessment, we looked at the 3 aspects, which is comparing the NPVs for public sector model and the PPP model. Then we looked at the risk adjustment to ensure the value for money for our project, then adjusting the quality and the service delivery project. We also looked at a table that shows the breakdown of the cost comparison for the PPP model and the public sector model, which eventually showed us that the PPP model is the best option considering a discount factor of 5%. That's it from me. Muhindo Bernard can take it up for the next slide.
Thank you, Brian. We also looked at another project, development of bus rapid transit in Kampala, where we compared the costs of public sector delivery best case and then the PPP model scenario, where we saw that the costs and risks are higher for a public sector model if a project is to be taken on by a public sector, and then lower for the private model scenario. We also looked at the PPP structures where we have the build, operate, transfer, build, own, operate, and also the build, operate, transfer, then with an addition of the lease. We also looked at the design, build, finance, operate structures.
Thank you, Bernard. Moving on to other structures that we looked at, we do have the design, build, operate, lease, develop, operate. There's an element of the concession agreement, then the public finance initiatives, joint ventures as well were part of our presentation. Now, for the projects that we did choose, which is the Kampala-Jinja Expressway, we do recommend the build, operate, transfer structure with the justification pointing to the risk allocation, the financing of the project being catered for by the private sector, the operation expertise, the revenue generation for both the public and the private sector, and the asset transfer due to the fact that as part of this structure, the project is sent back to the public sector once completed. For the second project that we looked at, we recommended the design, build, finance, operate, and maintain, with the justification speaking to the integration of services, which speaks to the expertise of the private sector. The efficiency in design and construction, again, the risk transfer is mentioned as part of the justification for that particular structure. Private financing, operation expertise, maintenance considerations as well. In conclusion, the PPP model will offer significant advantages over the traditional procurement, and the structure is chosen for both the project BET and the BRT aligned to the unique requirements of those projects to ensure that the public interest is served effectively. Thank you, and that makes up our presentation.